Here we have Mr. Tony Gray, president of the Atlanta Jamaican Association. And as you see, I just plucked him as he was on one of his little quiet missions. He's been very busy. They're keeping him extremely busy. But Mr. Gray, it's good to have you.
Always a pleasure, Wayne. It's one of that's the things we do here. Always a pleasure to speak with you.
So tell our viewers about the significance of this Jamcham Banquet and Awards tonight, man.
I know you're putting me on the spot, but as you know, the Jamcham was formed through the Atlanta Jamaican Association.
Which is great. Good to know.
Yes, and Jamcham actually takes care of the businesses here in Atlanta, and actually have training for the businesses and business owners to make sure that the business prosper. They've been doing a great job of that, and I'm so proud of this initiation here because it's going to be greater things going on in Atlanta.
Awesome news. And so we're looking forward to not just the awardees. It's going to be a great night. Hey, the Prime Minister of Jamaica is going to be here.
Hello, let me tell you about it. CG, Ambassador, they're all here.
I'm glad you started going down the list. So we have the Consul General out of Miami,
Yeah, Mr. Oliver
Mr.
Meir.
Oliver Meir.
Yes.
He's here. I saw him earlier.
Yes, you have the Ambassador.
Her Excellency, Miss Audrey Marks.
Indeed. And then, of course, you have Dr. Bryan, our Honorary Consul in Atlanta. She's here also.
Great. Listen.
And the Prime Minister. Yes, so everybody's here in this one city.
Whatever city you're in right now, we're telling you, eat your hearts out. Because we have them all in Atlanta tonight. And Mr. Gray's one proud host, because if Jamcham was founded through AJA, I'm sure a lot of the hosting and the happenings came through at the AJA. Congrats.
Indeed. And we're just happy. Wayne, that's what we do. We have to merge, and we're so happy to assist because this is one big happy family.
That's right. Thank you, Tony. I know you're busy. Mr. Gray, AJ Atlanta Jamaican Association President. Have fun this evening, man.
Mr. Hall, thank you so much. And I see you already and in your colors. I like that.
I wear my true colors. They need to shine through, right?
Yes. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Yes.
you so much.
Good,
Yes, such a
good.
pleasure as always.
That's right. Thank
Yes,
you.
indeed.
Thank you.
Thank
and,
you.
And you know, it's always fun. It's
Yeah.
always fun
And,
at these events. Fun and formalities.
I have to commend you. You're always just so pleasant and you get it done. It's just wonderful, man.
Thank
it
you.
Shows you're the man.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Mr. Gray. All right. So live coverage continues right here. Live coverage continues right here as we're mingling. Go ahead. It's okay. We're coming to you live, the Wayne Hall Show, from this evening's inaugural Banquet and Awards by Jamcham. And we're standing by to speak to none other than our first Jamaican American elected to the Georgia Assembly, Miss Donna McLeod. And I like to say it loud and proud. Welcome, Miss Donna McLeod. Come down a little bit more. We're right behind these two great pieces of tape. Good to see you.
Good to see you. I've seen you, twice in 1 week?
Yeah. How do I get so lucky this week, you know? But yeah, great evening, the awards and Jamcham event. But speak, Donna, from your perspective to the significance of this evening.
Again, making sure Caribbean people understand the value of their dollar and making sure that Caribbean businesses are successful, getting the connection between each other, that's very important. And having somebody in the legislative branch of this government is very important because, again, I've said this many times, at the end of the day, it's all about your money, whether you pay income tax, sales tax, property tax, or, you get pulled over by the cop and you have to pay service tax. It's about your money. And I think that people deserve a return on their investment.
Right. And as I was saying to someone the other day, I think if we wake you up in the middle of the night, you're so true to your message, you're consistent with your message. And so it's good that, we can meet on an occasion like this. Anything else you want to add?
I want our Caribbean community to stay involved, stay woke. If you're not yet a citizen and you've been waiting 35 years, I think you need to become a citizen and you need to get engaged and stay engaged because we know that anything can change at any given moment. As quickly as it was good, it can quickly go bad. So I'm looking forward to having a good time tonight and enjoying my community.
That's right. And one of the things about these events, ladies and gentlemen, is always the fashion. and leading it right now. You know, I've never really stepped into the fashion with Miss McLeod, but I gotta say, the ensemble is rocking it tonight.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh no, so you got the fashion critique part, rocking it. I'll take that. I'll take
Yes,
that.
it befits you. And have a great evening.
Trying
It's
to
good to
make the
talk with
colors
you.
work and all that. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Have a great evening. All right. Yes, indeed. So we're continuing with live streaming on offstagepass.com. Yours truly, Wayne Hall, holding it down here as we mingle prior to the big function, the first Banquet Awards by Jamcham, taking place right here in 2019 in Atlanta. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are live on offstagepass.com. The world is watching. Yeah, we have some traffic here, but we have Miss Simone Edwards. She dashed me away, you know, me don't remember her name. But Simone, it's good to see you.
It's always good to see you. Although I have to look way down to find you every time I'm looking for you. You know, I always be looking. Where is way? They told me to look for you, and I forgot. I can't look straight ahead.
I'm on my toenails trying to keep up with Simone Edwards. By the way, if you don't know, we're talking to the first Caribbean, Jamaican, and Caribbean women's player in the WNBA. And you represented what team?
The Seattle Storm.
The Seattle Storm, and did a great job. She has a book out entitled,
Unstoppable.
all right, see the book here, Unstoppable, and it's by Miss Simone Edwards, and you should check it out. Simone, what else is going on, real quick?
Well, I'm working on it being a movie right now. Talking to people and all of that. So I'm keeping my finger crossed. Very optimistic. So that's the next step.
That is great. Well, it's good to see you here at this very important function tonight, an inaugural one. Always a pleasure talking with you.
Always, my friend. Always good to see you.
Have a great night. All right. Let's pose for Miss Michelle to take a picture over here. We also have coming up Mr. Mara Christie from the We have more guests for you as we broadcast live on offstagepass.com. Yours truly, Wayne Hall, at our inaugural Banquet Awards. Look who's here! Oh my goodness! Yes, yes. This is Miss Tamara Christie of the Jamaica Tourist Board. Yeah, and wow, I'm actually recognizing everyone here tonight. My goodness, Tamara, it's good to see you
Good to see you too.
again.
Small world.
I know. Who knew, right? Now, Tamara, you are the Southeast Business Development Representative for the Jamaica Tourist Board. Oh, I got it right.
That's right. That's right.
Speak to that real quick and the significance of this occasion as it relates to your capacity with the Tourist Board.
Well, I am very, very honored to be here, working for Jamaica and to be in good company. And I'm looking forward to hearing our guest speaker for the night, or Prime Minister. Um, you know, Tourism for us is a really good foreign exchange earner, and that's why I'm working really hard to increase the numbers to our island.
Well, you guys are doing an awesome job. Over 400, step back up to the tape here. Over 400 million, what? 4 million guests last year.
It takes a lot of hard work, and we have a great system in place with relationships that are formed, digital as well as the business development representatives that are out on the ground in the communities making this happen.
And as I say, every one of us is our own ambassador in our own rights. But kudos to you and your team. Is there anything you want to share with the audience right now with this opportunity?
One love, always spread goodwill for Jamaica, continue to promote Jamaica, and everything is going to be all right.
Tomorrow, I think anybody you talk to about Jamaica is going to want to move there. I'm just making sure. Well, I'm yardy already. So, but it's good to see you tomorrow. Enjoy the evening. You look smashing, and enjoy.
You too. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you, Tamara.
I'm telling you.
Mr. Watson, what a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our sculptor, renowned Jamaican sculptor, Mr. Basil Watson, who was recently commissioned to do the Martin Luther King Jr. statue here in Atlanta. First of all, let me start by saying congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here.
For me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, congrats, man. And we've been
Thank you.
following
Thank
that closely.
Okay.
And so it's good to see you along with the,
Donna, my wife Donna.
your wife and your name, sorry?
Donna.
Your
Donna.
wife, Mrs. Watson, Donna Watson.
Uh-huh.
Good. What an occasion.
It is quite an occasion. Oh yes.
It is, and it's so good to see someone like yourself here, as standing here right now. I mean, what does this mean for Mr.
My birth, my growth,
Yes,
my education, the support that I get from Jamaica
right.
is what makes me able to stand here in Atlanta, working in Atlanta, being able to get this commission. Jamaica is my strength, really.
I don't know if it has sunk in for the average person in our community what it means for you to have received that noble distinction of working on Dr. Martin Luther King's statue. For you, from your own mouth. Man, how was that? I want to hear about that celebration when you really got it.
It has not sunken in yet.
Right.
The work is to be done.
Yes.
And I have to keep my head, my eyes down the lane,
Yes.
as they say in track and field.
Right.
You know, and I have to cross the finish line before I can start to celebrate.
Right. And if it's not something that you cannot disclose, that's when is that due?
Well, it's in about a year's time.
Okay.
Yeah.
In about a year's time. All
Yeah.
right. Okay. Very
So-
good. And so you have your key supporter here with you. I mean, as family, man, how does that make you all feel?
Absolutely proud to be anywhere near Basil. I mean, we've had a long relationship, and so we understand each other, and we know we focus together. So this is really a family project.
Right, and I'm going to take the privilege, sir, of inviting the Wayne Hall Show for a sit down with you, hopefully in one of your studios somewhere, where we can showcase your work. When
You are
have
more
time.
than welcome.
Yes,
Anytime,
and
just
if
let
you
me
have
know.
a card, I'm sorry, I know I'm on the clock, but I'm also preparing for future. If you have a card, I'd like to have one, because I definitely would love to do this when we can share more details as to, a lot of the stuff you've done over the years. So many of them, Usain Bolt, Shelley Ann Fraser, just to name a couple, among others.
Yes. As I say, Jamaica is my support, and I'm really proud, not just for myself, but the light that it shines on Jamaica, because it really is a big project, a major project. The sculpture will probably be the most recognizable here in Atlanta, and it will always shine a light on Jamaica.
We look forward to that, Mr. Watson. Congrats again. Keep on representing our little island so well. We're in just about everything you can think of. And it's just great. It's a pleasure and an honor to be talking to you and Mrs. Watson this evening.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy this.
I will. Thank you.
All right. All right. So the Prime Minister, as you've seen, just made his way into the hall. And so the formalities are going to begin now, I'm sure, shortly. But I'm with Mr. Glenn Simmons. And you cannot miss Mr. Glenn Simmons unless you're not from the ATL. Mr. Jerkfest, I call him. Mr. No, I make sure I say the fest because it wouldn't be nice, right?
Jerk, right? That would be nice. No,
So, Glenn, what's going on? What's up? Tell us the latest and greatest. I know we don't have a lot of time, but
Well, Wayne, it's always a pleasure to be with you. First of all, I want to commend you on the great job that you do.
Thank
and
you.
the service you provide in the community. It's really, really appreciated. Now,
Thank you, sir.
in terms of what we're up to, we're in the midst of planning for Jerkfest 2019. Bigger and better. We have some great plans for this year. And, as soon as we roll things out, I'm sure folks will be very, very excited.
yes, and we are because we're spoiled. If ever there was an event that started advertising the day after the last one, it was Jerkfest. So we're kind of
Right,
wondering what's up. So that's good to know.
Yeah, man.
That stuff will be rolling out soon.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes, and
Absolutely.
not only are you with the Jerkfest, but you're with one of our premier radio shows in Atlanta, the
Yes.
Authentic Caribbean Radio Show.
Yes,
You want to speak to what's up with that, the crew, whatever?
Well,
how people can reach.
Right. The show airs on Saturdays.
Uh-huh.
There's been a time change. Now it's going to
Okay.
be 10 p.m. to midnight
Oh,
on Saturdays.
okay.
So, it's very, 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 very exciting. So, we're inviting your listeners to tune into Magic 107.5, 97.5 in Atlanta every Saturday evening from 10 p.m. until midnight.
And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, at them time, the dance time and the
it's
party
already.
time. So, yeah, man. So,
Yes, sir.
Jerkfest, we'll hear more.
Yes, absolutely. It's gonna be
Authentic Caribbean is a
gonna be
new
the 1st
time.
of September.
1st of September.
Yes.
Yes, September 1st.
Yes.
Right. And venue to be decided?
No.
Fine tuning.
No. We just plan to do a big rollout on that. So
Okay,
we'll
all
just
right.
provide all the information at the right time.
You see, I'm just trying. They say you need to come closer so they can get a good picture. But,
Okay.
we're taking pictures, we're doing video. But
Right.
I think we covered everything, Glenn. It's always a pleasure to see you, man.
It's always a pleasure to see you.
And
And
what
once
an occasion, man.
Oh, this is absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
Absolutely wonderful. And it is good to see that the Jamaican community has come out in such numbers. So
Yes.
It's really, really good.
And the Prime Minister is here.
Yes. he
Everyone
just
else
walked
is
in,
here.
so,
And we
yes.
look forward to a great evening.
It's
Enjoy,
gonna be a
man.
great evening. All right. Good to see you, Bridget.
All right.
Yeah, man. Cool.
Michelle, you got us? Hold your mic. All right. So there goes the latest and greatest on Jerkfest. And just keep it locked. We got more conversations coming your way. Ooh, I just looked over my shoulder and see one of my favorite persons. Dr. Yvonne Smith is in the house. Come on over, Dr. Smith. I can hold this one for you if you don't have to hold your own mic. That's okay. Dr. Smith, it's such a pleasure to see you. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here. I'm excited about this event.
What an occasion.
It sure is. Just awesome. Lost for words, but it's just awesome.
It is indeed a great occasion. And Dr. Evan Smith is with the Atlanta Montego Bay Sister Cities Committee. And just remind me your title. I know sometimes titles change. What?
I'm the chairperson, and I'm also the medical director for the Sister Cities.
Right, and keyword medical. Please share with the audience real quickly. I know you're eager to go inside, but real quickly, what it is that the Atlanta Montego Bay Sister Cities do.
Well, for the last 26 years, we've been conducting medical missions to Montego Bay to the tune of about 66,000 persons served at a tune of $5 million US. And in addition to the medical missions, we also conduct scholarships and technology, providing computers and internet access to some of the schools in the Montego Bay area.
Okay, great stuff. And they do that every year, like she said. How can you be reached, your organization?
Well, you can, our email address is atlmobay@comcast.net. We're also on Twitter and Facebook. Don't ask me. And you can reach me by phone, 678-522-3103.
Dr. Smith, a little birdie whispered in my ear, you are an honoree tonight.
That's what I was told, yes.
Do you know
Excited.
in what capacity, please?
I believe it's for community service. Okay. Yeah, for community service.
All right, and here comes Mr. Smith. You feel, Dr. Blake, sorry. Dr. Blake, feel free to join us. We were just talking with Dr. Smith about Atlanta Montego Bay Sister Cities Committee. So thanks for joining us, Dr. Blake. Well, congratulations from all of us on our platform. And, I just want to say enjoy the evening, enjoy the award. Well deserved.
Thank you.
Okay, and now, Dr. Blake, what an occasion.
It is a wonderful occasion and it's a great honor. And it's going to be a great evening.
It's good to see you. Enjoy.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so it's thinning out here, which means the formalities are going to be beginning inside. And yours truly, Wayne Allman. I'm happy to just have shared all those conversations with you. I'm going to say, take it away, Mr. Producer.
Good evening, everyone. I was accosted almost earlier this evening by someone who said, I've never seen you wear anything but black, David. For those of you who know me, I only wear black, but we're very, very honored to have the Prime Minister with us today. When I realized that I was wearing purple, someone asked me if I went to KC, which I did not. And then when I realized that it was too late to go back home and change. But anyway, congrats to KC on your victory at Champs, in all fairness. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you a person who I consider a friend and for whom I have tremendous respect and admiration. I want to tell you a little bit about his background. He was actually born in Spanish Town in Jamaica. I guess the Spanish Town posse is here. But a lot of people don't know this, his father is actually from the parish of St. Elizabeth, where my father is from. And his father was a farmer and is still a farmer in St. Elizabeth. His mother is a civil servant, or was a civil servant, and raised him in Spanish Town. He did not go to KC. He, in fact, went to St. Catherine High School. I asked him what the highlights of high school were, and he said it was meeting a young lady by the name of Juliet Landell, who was his neighbor and his classmate, and later became his wife. He was president of the student body, unsurprisingly. He was president of the chess society, unsurprisingly. He was president of the debating society, and he was also head boy. So it was clearly a sign of things to come. When he graduated, he did something that not that many people do, or not that many people do amongst the young people today, is he decided to be a teacher. And he actually taught principles of business, accounting, and English at St. Catherine High School. And that's where he developed his passion and love for education. He left as a teacher and went to University of the West Indies, where he majored in management studies and in economics. And he felt a calling, and that calling was to give back to his nation and serve his nation and to enter politics. But he didn't enter politics the way that a lot of people enter politics. He decided, let me learn about the people, and particularly the young people. And he joined an organization which was the oldest non-governmental organization in Jamaica called Vouch, Voluntary Organization for the Upliftment of Children. And he worked in a small office in West Kingston, which this organization was a successor to the Jamaica Welfare Organization, which some of you may have heard of, which goes back to Norman Manley days. And they had a dilapidated clinic, the basic school had been shut down, and it was his job to learn about the community, interact with members of the community, and he went, rebuilt the clinic, restarted the basic school, and really began to make a significant impact in that community. His work was sufficient that the Member of Parliament for the area for many years, a gentleman by the name of the Right Honourable Edward Siaga, heard about this young man and insisted on meeting him. So impressed was he by young Andrew Holness that he asked him to work for him. And he became special assistant to then leader of the opposition and served in that role, working closely with Mr. Siaga for several years. Mr. Siaga said, well, if you really want to get into politics, there's only one way to do it. Get into politics. And in 1997, he decided to run for Member of Parliament in a very difficult constituency, which is West Central St. Andrew. That's a very difficult constituency because it had never been held by the Jamaica Labour Party, and actually going back until 1980, was a fairly strong PNP seat. And in that seat, in the previous election, the party had lost by 4,500 votes. People told him he was crazy. You're not going to win. It's going to be difficult. And he said, you know something? I'm going to give it a try. And he walked the constituency, he met the people, and just like he had done in West Kingston, he made a difference. And so in 1997, two important things happened. One is he got married to Juliet Landell, and she became Mrs. Holness. And a few months later, I can't imagine ever telling your wife this, I'm going to run to be Member of Parliament. And he won by 100 votes. He has run in that constituency, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, but 5 times. He is a 5-time elected parliamentarian, entering his 23rd year in Parliament. In 2007, the Jamaica Labour Party won the election, and he was asked to be Minister of Education. He was also asked to be Leader of Government Business in the House of Representatives. He was also asked to be a minister responsible for electoral affairs. And when the then Prime Minister Bruce Golding decided to step down, it was not really a question of, wasn't a question at all really of who was going to replace him. Because his colleagues, and it's a testimony to his leadership and his character, that he was chosen unanimously by his colleagues to be the leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, and then at the age of 43, the youngest Prime Minister of Jamaica in 2011. A few months into his first term in office, he called an election, and he did something that a lot of people at the time thought was a bad idea. He told the people of Jamaica the truth. He said there's going to be bitter medicine because we're facing a very difficult time in our country's history in terms of our economic situation. We're going to have to make some tough decisions which are going to be brutal. Well, perhaps he was too honest because the Jamaican people didn't like that, and so he had a very short term in office. And he quickly became Jamaica's youngest leader of the opposition, just a few months later. But importantly, while in opposition, as leader of the opposition, he was very constructive. He was very productive. His honesty led to the social consensus that led to the level of fiscal discipline and reforms that were implemented, started by the party in 2007, but continued by the other party throughout that period, and he worked closely with them and supported them, something which really hadn't happened in Jamaica before. He was a constructive, productive leader of the opposition. And so in 2016, when the election was called, once again, just like when he ran for Member of Parliament, many people felt that this was going to be a difficult battle, and indeed it was. And on February 25th, 2016, of the 63 seats, the Jamaica Labour Party won 32, and the PNP won 31, the closest election in Jamaica's history. And Andrew Michael Holness became Jamaica's Prime Minister once again for the second time. As Prime Minister, he made it very clear that he had a vision, a very clear vision for the country. A vision, as he called it, of moving from poverty to prosperity. A vision to move Jamaica from a developing to a developed nation. And that vision was accompanied by a set of policies and programs which, quite frankly, have led to today some of the most unprecedented economic reforms and improvements in the Jamaican economy in the past 45 years. He is known for taking decisive action. When crime flared up a few years ago, he decided to implement not one, but 2 states of emergencies in 2 of the most crime-ridden areas in Jamaica. He implemented a new program called ZOSO, Zones of Special Opportunities, and as a result, today, crime has fallen by 20%. And I will end with this. I would say that one of his most enduring legacies will be that he has inspired and motivated Jamaicans. He has given Jamaicans hope. In this last budget speech announced just a few weeks ago, this government, for the first time, certainly in my history and probably in Jamaican history, announced that they were not going to not just put on new taxes, but they were actually going to reduce taxes on the Jamaican people and give money back to the Jamaican people. I am inspired by Andrew Holness, and I feel fortunate that we in Jamaica have him as a Prime Minister. I am honored to welcome the 9th Prime Minister of Jamaica to address Jamcham tonight in our inaugural Banquet Awards, a person who I consider to be a friend, the Most Honorable Andrew Michael Holness.
Thank you so much, David, for that very moving presentation. You wouldn't believe that we wrote it just 3 or so minutes before. But that is just to tell you how good David is. By the way, I mean, everything there is true, but I'm certain that how David has told the story has made it so much more inspiring. It's, you know, just listening to the story being told, I had to reflect on the journey. And it is a long journey. It was a difficult journey, but a very rewarding journey. And a journey that I would do again and again and again and again for the people of Jamaica. So thank you very much, David. And while I'm on David, let me congratulate Jamcham. I was saying to David, where is the Atlanta in Jamcham? I was hoping that it would be something like Jamacham. Now, but David says it's easier to say Jamcham. So let me congratulate David and the team for creating this institution. It's very important that Jamaicans embrace commerce. Absolutely important. And one of the reasons why I accepted the invitation is because part of my own message to the people of Jamaica is that we must now see about our economic independence. Yes. You know, we've secured our political independence. Nobody can question Jamaica's political independence. We're known for being an amplified voice right across the world. But we must now be known not just for our athletics, not just for our sun, sea, and sand, not just for our music. We must now be known as the place of choice for business. So I want to, David, personally congratulate you and President Arnold and the board of directors for making this all possible and for giving a platform for Jamaican businesses here in Atlanta and in the wider Georgia to meet each other, network, to collaborate, to support each other. I'm certain that you're doing mentoring as well. And creating the opportunities. And like we always do everywhere we go as Jamaicans, we believe strongly in education. So I'm certain that the Chamber of Commerce is supporting education, supporting financial literacy in particular, and supporting the development of the entrepreneurial spirit, because that is how we're going to grow from poverty to prosperity and be economically independent people. So let me acknowledge the protocol list. You would have known our ambassador, Her Excellency Audrey Marks, one of the fantastic women of Jamaica doing great things in diplomacy. The new kid on the block, your Consul General, Oliver Mayer, and one half of your Directorship of Ceremony this evening, your Honorary Consul, Dr. Elaine Brand, and her husband, Dr. Brand. Other members of the Consular Corps who may be here. I've met, I believe, consular representatives from Haiti, and there might be others here. Welcome. Again, let me acknowledge the chairman of Jamcham, David Panton, and Judith Arnold, President, and members of the Board of Directors, members of the local authorities here. You know, I was very privileged to have met the mayor of Atlanta, Mayor Lance Bottom. She's a lovely lady. I think there is great synergies between Atlanta and Jamaica. Obviously, this large diaspora here would have created the opportunities and the linkages. But from the 1970s, Atlanta has been a sister city of Montego Bay, and there continues to be cooperation between Jamaica and Atlanta. I believe that the latest example of that would be that some of our Jamaican firefighters have come to train here at your world-renowned airport in certain safety procedures, and I'm certain that there will be other opportunities as well for exchange between Jamaica and Atlanta. I want to acknowledge the honorees here, some very lovely people we have selected, and all very well deserving. We also have here with us Darrell Moody and Mrs. Moody, representing the Governor, Brian Kemp, and I please extend to him my great appreciation for Andrew Holness Day. I've never had that. It's a great honor, and I'm hoping that the next time I'm here, we'll have a chance to meet with the governor. But I'm also here on business, so Darrell, you may want to say to the governor that we want to do more business with Georgia and Atlanta. I know you have offices in parts of Latin America, but not in Central America and the Caribbean. Now, I'm not here to speak for the rest of the Caribbean or Central America. I'm here to speak for Jamaica. So I want to one day be able to say that one of your trade offices is located in Montego Bay or Kingston, whichever. Montego Bay, possibly. You know, we have a Jamaican company doing great business right here in Georgia. Many of you would know Jamaica Broilers. Yeah. In Jamaica, we would say the best dressed chicken. But they have quite a number of business operations here, and they're doing very well. They're employing citizens of the United States. They're creating jobs here. And we're very happy for that, because that is a part of Jamaica expanding. That is a part of Jamaica's economic wealth as well. So it's not that we're only looking to see investments come in, but we must also encourage Jamaicans to make investments elsewhere, because that is how you're going to create wealth. So I believe that if we take an instrumental approach, Darrell, we could be creating more business that is mutually beneficial to both Georgia and Jamaica. And I'm looking forward to that. I want to especially acknowledge Copeland Comrie. I just met you, sir. Congratulations on your award. And the Atlanta Montego Bay Sister City nonprofit organization, Mrs. Hazel Martin. And of course, that very touching story of Royal Caribbean Bakery. Heartiest congratulations to you all, and I encourage you to keep on doing what you're doing. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jamaican diaspora is essential to Jamaica's growth and prosperity. You know, for many years, we have relied on the remittances of the diaspora. You know, the truth is that it helps many households. That's how many children go to school. That's how groceries are bought for the household. Utility bills are met. And that's how sometimes we are able to maintain a reasonable balance of payment. But that is not going to be enough for the economic prosperity that we seek. And every time I address a group of Jamaican diaspora members, in the back of your minds, I'm sure, is the question, how can we help Jamaica other than remittances? Many of you have sought to return to Jamaica. Some of you have been disappointed. Many of you have sought to help in the best way you can through philanthropic effort, whether it is giving back to education or to health, sometimes in sponsoring sporting activities. But you do try to maintain the connection with your country, with your community, with your family, and you try to give back. There really isn't any coordinated way that the government could seek to integrate the members of the diaspora back into the Jamaican economic and social scene. What really needs to happen is for the government to create the economic and social environment so that you feel comfortable to find your way back and feel assured that if you were to make the decision to come back to Jamaica, that you would not be sacrificing a quality of life that you have attained here by going back to Jamaica. That's a statement that, if left hanging, could be very dangerous. Because the government of Jamaica has to create the economic and social environment that any Jamaican, wherever, but let's be frank, where any person in the world would choose to live. The government of Jamaica must create the economic and social environment, not just for its own citizens, not just for the diaspora, but for anyone, anywhere, to choose to live. Because the ultimate goal of Jamaica is to become the place of choice for anyone to choose to live, work, raise their families, do business, and retire in paradise. And that's what I've been working very hard to do, to create that level playing field, that efficient public bureaucracy and regulatory environment, that good fiscal policy, good monetary policy, good growth policy, the safety and security, good infrastructure, and an environment, the physical environment, where you can feel that the quality of life that you enjoy here would be same, if not better, than the quality of life, the quality of life in Jamaica would be equal or even better to the quality of life that you have here. That's the whole thrust of government policy now. So what have we been doing so far? Well, the first thing is the reduction in the national debt. To give you some context, in 2013, the national debt was somewhere around 142% of GDP. In other words, what we produce every year, add 42% to that, and that is what our national debt would be. As David was explaining to you, there had to be a social consensus in order for policy to work. In 2011, when we saw that we were in this problem, I had to go to the people. We had to call an election. And I could have gone the route of politicking, of painting a rosy story that we would settle an IMF deal in 2 weeks and in a month's time everything will be fine. But I did not come from that generation of politicians that has done it that way over and over and over. And I thought it was necessary, being the first prime minister post-independence, to chart a new course, to level with the people and explain to them that there would be difficult times ahead. And I did it. As David said, I spoke about the bitter medicine that the country would have to endure. So said, so done. A new administration came in, and they had to administer the bitter medicine, even though they told the people that there was no bitter medicine to administer. The new Minister of Finance came to the IMF shortly after he won, and when he came back, his first statement was, the meeting was sobering. And I lived to see the day when he himself said that there would be bitter medicine to administer. But it was that speaking the truth to the people that created the space for the new government to act. Because I had already laid the foundation that there would be difficult times ahead. And I decided that I would not pursue the kind of destructive and adversarial politics that had plagued Jamaica, and that many of you here would understand. In fact, many of you are here precisely because of that adversarial kind of politics. So I didn't pursue that. You can't say that you have heard of any disruptive activity promoted by me as leader of the opposition. It was all about trying to preserve the social consensus for what was good for Jamaica, which was finally the acknowledgement that there must be good fiscal policy. It has taken Jamaica a very long time to come to this understanding. I'm going to do something here tonight which I haven't done before, which is to make, I don't like to use the word philosophical, but that's what it is, to make a philosophical connection. In the heart of every Jamaican is a sense of fairness. If you were to say to a Jamaican, would you give someone something based on merit, or would you give them based on equity? What would be the majority choice? And that has been the fundamental question that has guided Jamaican politics since our independence and before. Is it merit or is it social justice and equity? Majority of Jamaicans, when you dig deep and unpack the issue, it is a matter of social justice. Because the truth is that we started out 350 years ago in slavery, where our forefathers were deprived of any attachment to any economic assets, including their labor. And at the abolition of slavery, thrown into an economy without any assets and without our labor being enhanced by knowledge to compete and to form a society. And therefore, for us to catch up, it cannot be you get social and economic benefits because you're the brightest or you have the most money. It has to be that government policy seeks to ensure that everyone has access to the things that are going to make you into a person. So the thrust of government policy has always been to ensure that there is social equity. We meandered for a period of time after the days of the 60s, when Jamaica experienced significant economic growth, because at that time, we were having new industries being created. We had the bauxite industry being created, we had tourism being created. We hit growth rates of 12% at one point in time in the 60s. But there was always the issue of the poor masses not having access to health, to education, to proper infrastructure, to social services, access to business. And so it needed a Michael Manley to carry this message of social justice. It needed attention to be paid to breaking down the social stratifications that kept people from having access. But we stayed too long in that frame and mentality. In fact, we stayed in that frame and mentality for 40 years. That having now created the framework of social equity, we didn't have anything to distribute through that framework because there was no growth in the economy. So we have achieved our political goal of having a system that can generate social equity and distribute it properly. But we just don't have the equity. And that's why many of you left Jamaica to come here to create that equity. And that's what you've been doing. And you reflect on Jamaica and you say, why can't Jamaica be like Atlanta? And some of you have said, I can't bother. I just have to tell it as it is. But some of you have not given up hope. You come back all the time, you still read the papers. You know, some of you can tell me more about what's happening because you read every inch of the newspaper. You literally read the words of the paper. So it's not lost. So in 2016, I changed the message. I changed the message. A message that was preached before was poverty, which is all wrapped up in this issue of social equity. I changed the message to one of hope and prosperity. So for a very long time, Jamaicans were almost afraid of that word, afraid to think that we could grow, that we could reduce crime, that our economy could boom, that our city could regenerate, that we could put in highways and proper road infrastructure. And the people took a chance. That's what they did in 2016. And we got a, you know, we got a slight edge. And I said to the people, thank you for the opportunity. I'm going to work very hard. I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm going to continue with a message of hope and a message of prosperity, that we're going to improve, that we're going to grow. So today, by virtue of the sacrifice of the people through successive IMF programs, we have reduced our debt from the 42% of GDP to now we are 99.3 or something like that. We're just below 100%. But that was done by taking out of your budget, before you do anything else, 7%. And paying 7% down on your debt. So that means we have sacrificed hospitals, schools, spending on those things. Which comes right back to this issue of social equity and merit. Because this debt that we're repaying, no one forced it on us. This is debt that was accumulated by inefficient government, losses in public sector entities, by FinSAC. Many of you would remember that failure of government policy, which resulted in bank failures, which resulted in the government having to take over the debts of private banks and then ask the taxpayers to pay for that. Much of that went to corruption, public money wasted, and some of it was, exogenous shocks. The 2009 global economic crisis led us to borrow in order to meet our balance of payments. But that is debt that represented past consumption. So the current generation has to pay for past consumption. So the government must now ensure that we clear off what we borrowed to develop, and we create enough capital that we can give to the generations coming. So our target is to get our debt down to 60% of GDP. That will give us what we call, and I don't have to go into all that explanation, but fiscal space. That is enough space within the budget to address our current consumption needs and to invest in capital works that will create the platform for future generations to grow and prosper. And that's what we're working very hard on now. And we're seeing the fruits of that. So some of you would, well, all of you here who are Jamaicans should know 3 miles. You know 3 miles? Well, when you go there next, you're going to say, this looks like the turnpike, or this looks like, it's totally different. The next time you come, Constant Spring Road to Halfway Tree will look totally different. The next time you travel on Mandela Highway, totally different. And when you're going from the airport And if you want to go through St. Thomas and go to Portland, that road will be totally different. And there are many other projects in the works. We're doing massive infrastructure projects now. And it's not just putting in the roads, it's putting in the sewage, it's putting in the telecommunications, it's putting in the water supply, and it's putting in the necessary sensors to create and road furniture to create a smart city. And we're doing all of that now. You will also note, if you're following what's happening in Jamaica, that a few days ago, our Statistical Bureau released our employment figures. Now, during the crisis, our unemployment rate was somewhere in the region of 13%. Just a few days ago, I'm pleased to see the figures and to say here tonight that our unemployment is now at 8%. That's the lowest it has ever been. So in another couple of years, Jamaica should be at full employment. But still, long way to go because we have to upskill, because we have to change the types of jobs that we have. We have to now ensure that we are in line with the development of the information age, that we are into technology jobs and STEM jobs. And that is a great deal of work to be done. But we have started, and I want to give all of you the assurance that we don't intend to be a low-skilled economy. Jamaica has to become a high-skilled economy. We have done very well in managing our fiscal and monetary affairs. Many of you will be following what's happening with the Jamaican dollar. But we have shifted our monetary policy now to inflation targeting. And for the last 3 years, we have had very low inflation, to the point where there is a concern being expressed by the central bank that our inflation is too low. We have inflation of just below 3%. And that has and sustained. So many of you who would have left Jamaica in the 90s would recall double-digit inflation, right? But we've managed to settle that down. And then those of you who are watching Bloomberg would see the accolades being heaped on Jamaica and its stock market. So we have had the best performing stock market in the world. But I want to say something on that. So, as I said, we have changed the message to now one of prosperity. Jamaicans are hopeful, they're expectant, they're prospecting, they're looking forward to seeing things. It's a new spirit that is in the country, and that spirit will engender a new set of entrepreneurs. But many of you would have grown up thinking of Jamaica as a small country. And by virtue of that, the sense is, well, you may not be able to do anything big. And when we do things big on the world stage, we do make something of it. You can't deny Usain Bolt. Great achievement. Bob Marley, great achievement. Global impact. Marcus Garvey, global impact. But it's time that we have a Bill Gates or a Mark Zuckerberg. Right? So, not undervaluing anything that is done. All of that has helped to create Brand Jamaica, which is a multi-billion-dollar brand. But for us to attain our economic independence, which is to create the equity to put into the distribution mechanism that we have created, we have to be more business focused. So my message to you all here who are business people is to expand your businesses, diversify your businesses. Don't just stay at the same level. Look for other opportunities. Make greater investments. And sometimes we have to come out of our comfort zone, because the comfort zone of Jamaicans in terms of our concept of ownership is that we must own the entirety of the business, even if it's small. When it is better to own, 10 or 20 or 30% of a very large business. So I'm encouraging you all here today, the business people who are here, to start thinking bigger. Start investing big. Jamaica and Singapore started out as independent nations around the same time. I think Jamaica got its independence before Singapore. At that time, our GDP per capita was about $550 per capita. Today, Singapore's GDP is about $59,000 per capita. Jamaica is $5,500 per capita. I wouldn't clap. I'm trying to put it into context. Jamaica's GDP is somewhere in the region of $14.5 billion. A lot of people can draw a check for that today. Singapore's GDP is over $300 billion. So I'm saying to you that the leap in creating this equity so that we can give all Jamaicans the access we need has to come by an appreciation of business. We are not going to make the leap as a people unless we also internalize that we too can be great businessmen and women. So I'm not here, being naive that businesses are going to solve everything, and the public-private partnership between government and business will solve everything, and market economics will solve everything. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I want to be able to distribute education, health, national security, good access to infrastructure. I want to distribute those freely to the people of Jamaica so that they can stand up shoulder to shoulder with any citizen anywhere, because their government provides these things for them. And that where they live, people would want to come and live there as well. But that can't be done from a small pie and from small thinking. That can only be done by big thinking to create a bigger pie for us to share equitably for each other. And I would clap for that. I have here with me Senator Aubin Hill. Aubin is head of our Economic Growth Council. And he is charged with getting our economic growth policy going. The chairman of the Economic Growth Council is none other than Michael Leachin. Now, all of you know who Michael Leachin is. And they're both working very hard to interface with the public bureaucracy to bring opportunities together with resources, together with regulators and permitters. So we are seeing in Jamaica many possibilities. We're opening hotels now, 2 or 3 or 4 every year. I mean, it's just amazing what is happening. We're seeing all kinds of interests coming into the island. But you know what I'm not seeing fully as yet? And I give you the story, and I'm closing. Albin was at, we have a hotel which is being developed by a Jamaican, and he's been trying to develop this hotel now for 30 years. Finally, because I spent a lot of time dealing with these legacy issues, so finally, we're opening the hotel. The hotel is being financed, a multinational conglomerate, but a large part of it will be from the Qatari sovereign fund, will be making an investment in the hotel. And one of the investors, a Spanish investor, said, listen, yes, it might be a little bit difficult to do business in Jamaica, but it's difficult to do business anywhere in this region. But you know why the foreign investors come? Because Jamaica is where they make the most money. Am I quoting him exactly, Senator? And when I went up to speak, I said, well, you weren't telling us any secret. We know this. We know this. And what I would want to see would be more Jamaicans coming back and taking the calculated risk on their country to make some of that money. There is money to be made in Jamaica. And if people from Qatar, from Spain, from Turkey, from Israel, all over are coming to invest in Jamaica, I want to see our diaspora people coming to invest in Jamaica. And you can start simple. The housing market in Jamaica is about to explode. It is, start by owning a home in Jamaica. That's easy, simple, secure investment. But there are many opportunities. And what we're doing now is creating what we call the ownership economy. So we are divesting many assets that the government formerly owned. We are divesting, we've just put out the IPO for the Wigton Wind Farm. That's one of our clean energy companies. And already it's subscribed. Jamaicans are rushing to buy shares, but more will be coming. And I would invite the diaspora to make investments in these shares when we do put them on the stock market. We're divesting other assets as well through concessions. And many companies are coming to take them up. Mexican companies, Spanish companies. We would love to see a conglomerate of Jamaicans who have the experience, the knowledge, the know-how to come and manage some of these assets as well. So in closing, I want to say to you that clearly I'm here to give the good news about Jamaica. But I'm also here to encourage you to take a second look at your country, not just of birth, but the country that you love so much. Because I watched all of you as you sang the national anthem. And you all said, Jamaica, land we love. I thank you.
Like how Martin Luther King would have started. My dream, my dream, my dream, my dream, my dream.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister, for your words. We greatly appreciate it. We have a few gifts for you. Let me ask Representative Donna McLeod to please step forward. Ladies and gentlemen, we have lots of very impressive people in Atlanta who are representing Jamaica well. One of them is Representative Donna McLeod, who was the first Jamaican to be elected to statewide office in the House of Representatives in Georgia last year. It's okay. Where's the Oh, you're coming over. Madam President, big gifts. No, that's not the gift. That's the gift.
I'm dreaming of a new Jamaica, a land of peace and love. Some say they cannot see no hope, that's why they keep us now. I know there's hope somewhere.
Can we also invite Ms. Tammy Gammon to come forward, please? To also present a gift. And could we invite Dr. Glenn Lamont to also come forward? Dr. Lamont, please come forward and make a presentation. Dr. Lamont is a former president of Jamcham, and he has written a book on Jamaican entrepreneurship, which I encourage all of us to read and to buy his book. Representative McLeod, here's the gift for the Prime Minister. Thank you. And is Tammy here? Yeah. Tammy, you want to bring the paintings? Thank you, Dr. Lamont. Thank you, Representative McLeod. Tammy's the artist outside. You may have seen some of her work when you came in. And she's presenting 2 of her paintings. And she's also presenting a set of earrings, not for the Prime Minister, for his wife. That's a smart move, Prime Minister. So we're taking care of you. We're making sure. Mrs. Holness came and spoke at the AJ, I believe, 2 years ago. And she really liked the earrings she received and requested another. So those are heading home. Thank you very much. Prime Minister, please give him a hand. Thank you. Now we'd like to invite Alreen Barr from the City of Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, another powerful Jamaican who is Director of International Business. The Prime Minister mentioned that he met with the mayor. I was also in that meeting, fortunately. And the City of Atlanta has issued a proclamation for Jamcham, so I'd like to ask her to say a few words.
Thank you, David.
You may be seated.
The Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Masters of Ceremonies, Her Excellency Audrey Marks, Jamaica's Ambassador to the United States, other members of the Diplomatic Corps, Jamcham board members, special guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. On behalf of Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, the Atlanta City Council, and the 8,000 City of Atlanta employees, it is an honor for me, a proud Jamaican, to present this proclamation to Jamcham's chairman, Dr. David Panton. It reads, Proclamation, Atlanta City Council, in recognition of the Jamaican Chamber of Commerce of Atlanta. Whereas, the Jamaican Chamber of Commerce of Atlanta, Jamcham, will hold its first annual awards banquet on the 20th of April 2019 at the Georgia Tech Convention Center, and whereas Jamcham was founded to represent the interests of Jamaican businesses in the Metro Atlanta area and to provide business and professional development programs as well as access to business solutions, and whereas Jamcham's mission is to help entrepreneurs and business owners grow their businesses, assist professionals to advance their careers or start their own businesses, and ultimately build a more connected, engaged, and successful business community among Jamaicans in Metro Atlanta and the wider community. And whereas at its inaugural awards banquet, Jamcham will be honoring deserving small businesses along with a Person of the Year who exemplifies community involvement in philanthropy. These individuals have supported the community and should be given recognition for their efforts and commitment to their community. And whereas the inaugural banquet will be attended by Jamaica's Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Jamaica's Ambassador to the United States, Ms. Audrey Marks, Jamaica's Consul General Mayor, along with hundreds of residents of the Caribbean community. Now, therefore be it proclaimed that we, the members of the City Council, Atlanta City Council, on behalf of the citizens of Atlanta, do hereby recognize the Jamaican Chamber of Commerce of Atlanta on this 20th day of April 2019 for its commendable work bringing together its members to help them address important concerns and issues within the Jamaican American business community and the larger Caribbean community. Signed by the City Council President, Felicia Moore, and all the members of City Council.
Greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much, Alreen. We greatly appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have here, by the Governor of the State of Georgia, a proclamation. It's fairly long. I won't read all of it. I'm only going to read 3 paragraphs. Whereas, it has 10, so you should be glad for 3. By the way, Alreen, you can give me a proclamation anytime. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. Whereas the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, ONMP, has served as Prime Minister of Jamaica since March 3rd, 2016. And whereas, for over 20 years, Prime Minister Holness has had a distinguished career of public service and has demonstrated a long-standing commitment to improving the quality of lives of all Jamaicans, both in Jamaica and in the diaspora. And whereas, this is the 3rd one, the Jamaican American Chamber of Commerce of Atlanta, Jamcham, represents many small businesses and executives of Jamaican descent in Atlanta and throughout the state of Georgia, and has invited Prime Minister Holness to be their special guest speaker on April 20th, 2019. The state of Georgia congratulates and provides best wishes to Prime Minister Holness for his leadership and vision, and Jamcham on their contributions to the entrepreneurial and corporate communities in Atlanta and throughout the state of Georgia. Now, therefore, I, Brian P. Kemp, Governor of the state of Georgia, do hereby proclaim April 20th, 2019 as Andrew Holness Day in Georgia. May I invite the Prime Minister to come forward, and Mr. Darrell Moody, representative of the Governor, who issued this proclamation. Yesterday was Good Friday, tomorrow is Easter Sunday, but today is Andrew Holness Day in the state of Georgia. I know some people are itching to dance, so let us, we're almost at the end, ladies and gentlemen. There's some very special people we wanted to recognize. Coming up from Jamaica, we had Mr. Christopher Levy, who was recognized earlier, and Ms. Ava Dawn Sinclair from Jamaica Broilers, and thank you for their support. Please give them a hand. Senator Aubin Hill is a member of the Board of Directors of Jamaica Broilers, as is Mr. Ed Barber and Mrs. Barber, based here in Atlanta. You will have heard of some of Jamaica's athletes today, including one Ms. Simone Edwards, also known as Jamaican Hurricane Edwards. Ms. Edwards. There she is, basketball player. I'm actually going to ask our Consul General to formally recognize Ms. Edwards and one other person.
Okay, Simone Edwards formerly of the Seattle Storm, Jamaicans excelling in all sports. Let's give her a big round of applause. We want to recognize Alison Peart and Gillian Horton from Amcham. And ladies and gentlemen, in Jamaica, we've had many great stars. Merlene Ottey, we've had Bob Marley, Usain Bolt, Shelley Fraser, and right here in Atlanta, we have our own Basil Watson. The gentleman was created the statues for Merlene Ottey, Herb McKinley, Louise Bennett, Usain Bolt, and Shelley Fraser. And listen, he was selected from a pool of 80 individuals around the world. He was selected, a Jamaican, to create the statue of one of the greatest leaders this world has seen, Martin Luther King. Let's hear it again for Basil Watson.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to show you one last video. And since we're taking pictures, we're going to ask the nominees who received awards to come forward to take a picture while we show the video. And then we will do our vote of thanks.
My name is Ian Lang. I'm from Kingston, Jamaica. I've been in the United States since 1976, so that makes it a whopping 43 years. And I've been in Atlanta, Georgia for about 15 years. I've recently joined the chamber, just since middle of last year. And what we try to do as a chamber is provide a forum for our members, first and foremost, to network with each other, to learn about what's happening in their various industries from each other, from the best thinkers inside the industry. It's really creating a way for our businesses within the chamber to learn, to network, to leverage each other, and to find ways to grow and be successful long term.
I'm Yana Lee Fall, proud co-owner, along with Chef Omar Powell of Epicurean Cafe. I've been a member of the chamber for about 4 or 5 years, one of the founding members. We had our business started about 5 years ago in a small space. And through networking and access at the chamber, I was able to procure investment so we could expand from 16 seats up to now 75 seats. And all of that was made possible by an investment from a member of Jamcham. So the chamber has a wealth of individuals with information, access, knowledge, mentorship, that you'd never know what you can find, who you can find to mentor you, help you grow your business, provide you with information that you probably never knew you needed.
Come to a meeting, meet some of the people who are on the board, people like myself who've been in business for 35, 40 years. Meet other kinds of businesses within your space and start to feel the power of networking. There's nothing so powerful as seeing other people facing the same kinds of problems, being able to talk through those problems, and being able to share ways that others have solved those problems.
May I invite Mr. Give them applause. Thank you. Mr. Lang, could I invite you please to come forward and give our vote of thanks? And Prime Minister, sorry to interrupt there, but could we ask you to come and take a picture with our nominees? Are there any other nominees that have to be part of the picture? All right, very good. Congratulations to you all. Mr. Lang?
Okay, everyone. Looks like we have one more picture. Okay, thank you all very much. I promise this will be brief. Honorable Prime Minister, Ambassador Marks, Consul General Mayor, Honorary Consul Dr. Bryan, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I find myself, as I often do, in a precarious position. I'm standing between you and your ability to stretch your legs to the tunes of DJ Migraine. As I said, I promise I will be brief. First of all, let me thank Prime Minister Holness for being here with us and for delivering the message that he delivered, the scorecard, if you will, about what's going on in Jamaica, and his message of hope, and his message of prosperity, and his vision for the future of Jamaica. Our inspiration for this event was our desire to establish a tradition of honoring businesses and individuals who distinguish themselves through their performance, their leadership, and their dedication to community service. Tonight, that tradition begins with our 3 outstanding honorees. Thank you all for being here to help us honor them. Let me ask for one more round of applause for them. The mission of the Chamber, as you have heard tonight, is to help our members achieve prosperity through access, voice, and empowerment. Nice words, but in practical terms, we work to give our members access to the tools and the information that are key to success. From raising capital and financial planning, to customer acquisition and retention, to basic business plan execution, we are fully invested in the success of our member companies. In closing, an event like this doesn't happen overnight. The planning committee has been hard at work for months, having our numerous phone calls, going over the plethora of details. Thanks to my committee, special thanks to Sandra Gammon, my right hand, left hand, both hands. Sandra, thank you very much for your hard work. I'd like to thank the entire committee. I'd like to thank all of our volunteers. There were several volunteers this evening that made this evening flow. I'd like to thank all of those who worked behind the scenes for their hard work. The videos that you saw tonight were sponsored. PSAV did our AV. We had tremendous support to make all of this happen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not easy. It is a joy to see you all here. I hope you all had a good time, and I hope you'll have an even better time once DJ Migraine starts. Thank you all for being here.